bum, bada bum, bada bum, 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 bum. Welcome everybody to another episode here at Gideon's Tactical. I got to tell you, I am pumped about this video. We are taking a look here today. I'm going to do a full field test review of the Ontario Knives Cerberus. You know, Cerberus is that dog from Greek mythology, multi-headed dog, if I remember correctly, war dog, if you will. And the idea with this knife, and it was actually built based off of some input from former Marines, and to be built as kind of a crossover between a field knife, you know, for tactical and field use, as well as a camp knife. And I'm really stoked because what I'm seeing initially, and as we go through here, we'll discuss pros and cons and, you know, pluses and minuses of the design. But what I'm seeing is a level of quality, materials, and fit and finish that I haven't seen from Ontario before. So if this is the direction they're going, I am super excited because, I mean, this is a great Kydex sheath we're going to be looking at. We got great contour G10 handle scales, D2 steel, USA made, black flat coating. I mean, we just got a lot of really good stuff and at a reasonable price. As we always know, Ontario comes in at great price points. So for the setup that we're looking at here, we're looking at a great price, and that's what we're going to be discussing here today, and looking at not only what the Cerberus can do, but really in concept. This is the direction I hope to see Ontario continue to go in the future, of this level of quality, fit and finish, Kydex sheaths. I mean, wow. So with that being said, guys, let's go ahead, take a look at the Cerberus and see what it has to offer. Now, folks, the blade was one of the big things that made me connect right away with this knife, and just its shape profile. We have basically a full flat grind that goes into this clip point. Hopefully you can see it in the sunlight. Really good strong clip, a wide clip, so it's going to give you toughness, durability without it being like overly sharp, so that if you were doing, you know, push cuts or whatever, it's not going to be painful on your hand, which is awesome. I really like just the grind angles that they decided to go with, and then adding that clip point gives you that strength and durability you would want on a tip, versus just a full flat grind blade won't have the strength on the tip that the knife, how it was kind of designed as a field knife, would be required to have. Now, we have this nice black coating. It's, I can't remember the type of coating it is. It's not just a spray-on junky coating like you would get on a lot of other knives. This is a nice, high-quality coating, done tons of batoning, all sorts of work with it, and it's not really wearing off at all. It does have a 90-degree spine, so you can throw sparks as well, so the coating didn't take away from that capability either. You are getting about 4.75 inch cutting edge, and then you are getting obviously that full tang with a thickness of 0.17 back here, and then it tapers down rather quick to give you some really good slicing capability on D2 tool steel. For me, the blade shape and just how it is performing would do exceptionally well at any camp task that you would think of for kind of just a slightly thicker knife. You know, you're going to be able to do light batoning tasks. You can do obviously great carving, whittling, all that type of stuff. I was very happy with that capability, and then you are getting that strong tip because they put the clip on it, so if you do need to do some stabbing, some light prying, that type of stuff, it has that capability, as well as, you know, in the blade shape itself being a good field knife, you know, being able to do some of those, you know, slashing through nylon rope. It did a great job through all that. Stabbing, the tip is going to be superb for that, and also your camp tasks, even food prep, you know, all that type of stuff. The knife does well in that. Now, D2 steel. I have no problem with D2 steel. Some people balk at it or whatever. You know, and some people would complain about its chippiness. That depends on the heat treat, on the grind angles. I got to tell you that because Ontario did a 57 to 59 on the Rockwell and whatever their heat treat and all that stuff they're doing, I'm glad they did that and kind of brought it down a little bit. So you're getting still great edge retention, better than 1095 and that type of thing. But I was able to put a great edge on it, to reprofile it how I wanted to, just a little bit. It had a good edge on it. I didn't really have to do a whole lot, but whatever I wanted to do, it was very easy to do and very easy to get the grind that I want and razor hair pop and sharp. And that's always what I'm looking for, is can I work with this steel, particularly out in the field? And I can. That's what's awesome. And then on top of that, just the fact that it's going to have a higher level of rust resistance, not a lot, but you know, some over like 1095 or something like that. I have zero qualms with the steel. The treatment that they did and the edge geometry and all those things was very well done on this knife for the task and the things that you would be looking for this knife to accomplish. I really like this G10 handle that they decided to go with on the Cerberus. Now we have an overall length of 5.4 inches, and then we have a maximum thickness here at this kind of swell of 0.71. And then you can just kind of see how the G10 is kind of popping out. Almost looks more like micarta than G10. But what they've done is really machine the heck out of this, and it's not blocky or clunky in my feel and how I've been using the knife. They've kind of thinned it out here around the neck, but bringing the handle scales and then a flare out, so you're really locked into place there. And then they're bringing kind of a swell and then a tapering down, so it just feels very intuitive in your hand. I really like the overall feel of it, and they were machined and rounded all the angles, so they're not really any hot spots from all the use that I've had and different grips and different holding patterns that I've had it in. They do have this jimping down here, but if it's coming above the micarta, it's like beyond, it's less than a millimeter, so I don't feel it. It doesn't cause any pain or uncomfortability anywhere on the handle, but gives me really good traction. So this is what I'll say, is that the knife handle is set up in such a way that it's a fantastic camp knife feel for doing camp tasks and doing most field knife tasks that you'd expect a field knife to do. Now the clip and kind of how it's set up as more of a military knife, you know, you may be stabbing bad guys or whatever. I'm locked into place, but because there's no actual guard and there's just this, you know, continuous swoop to the edge, there is that kind of in the back of your head, am I going to slide up and cut myself? Now, I've not done that with my stabbing and that type of thing, but that's just something to kind of think about. I think if this had been a designated guard down here, that would have just taken it to the next level in that capacity of feeling more like an actual tactical field knife. As it stands right now, I mean, a phenomenal camp knife handle setup, and I would say a decent combat field knife setup on the handle as well. And you just have to consider how this guard is set up. Now, again, it's very far, super deep lockup in there, but there is nothing keeping you from just sliding and then hitting the edge. So it's kind of a 50-50. Great camp knife, and for, you know, your woodscraft or nylon rope cutting and that type of stuff, not quite as set up for stabbing as other knives that would have a designated guard down below. This sheath is exciting. To my knowledge, this is the first Kydex sheath that Ontario has produced on a knife. To my knowledge, maybe I'm missing one or two, but this would be the first one, and I love it. I'm glad that they went with Kydex on this and not a ballistic nylon. It just gives you more mounting options. I love Kydex. It's more durable, and just, to me, always works better, and I almost always upgrade my knives to Kydex. And if this hadn't come with one, I would have to do that. So that's awesome. And, you know, and it saves you time and money when a knife comes with a good Kydex sheath. Now, so that's awesome that they went with Kydex, and just the layout, lots of lashing points. They really did a good job. It's got a good solid click for a knife that really doesn't have any sort of guard. It's just the way that they designed it. It just snaps super nice into place. Just a little bit of wobble in there, but no clicking or rattling. So nice and silent. I like that as well. Cool color combinations that they went with. Now there's two things that I'll comment on. The first is this little bungee tab. It came in a different location, and I guess it's supposed to be like a dual retention piece. You just kind of like put it there, I guess, and then if the knife were to come out, it's catching the guard there and will kind of help keep it cool, I guess. It's not a huge, you know, it's not a selling point for me. It's not a killer point either. You can either use it or take it off, however you want to do that. The other thing, though, is that This did not come with a BLADEHQ lock. All they sent is a bunch of paracord so you could like lash it, I guess, that way through your LBE or on your belt or whatever. So I think that was kind of a shortfall. You know, I mean, a BLADEHQ lock is like 10 bucks. Not a huge deal. I have several laying around and you can pick them up, and I'll have a link in the description below so that you could pick these up if you are thinking about this knife and you do not have a BLADEHQ lock. But they should have just included it. It would have been very easy, and now I can mount it any way I want with this knife. So just things to think about, but overall fantastic. Super glad that they went with Kydex, and it's a good Kydex sheath with good fit on the knife. All right, let's discuss price with you on this blade, and I want to thank Ontario for being willing to send this over to me to do this review for you, the viewers. You know, that's what makes it possible for us to thrash on this thing, show you pros and cons, and discuss it. So thank you, Ontario, for sending this over to me. Now, you can pick these up on average for about $150. We will have links in the description below over to Amazon as well as some other sites where you can pick those up. That's always a great way to help support the channel. And when we're talking about USA made D2 steel, contour G10, and a Kydex sheath of this level of quality for $150, I mean, that I have a really hard time thinking of another knife that can even come close in this size range for price, value, quality, and sheath setup as well as material. So for $150, you're getting a huge bang for your buck. There's really no need to upgrade, you know, sheaths. The handle scales are really contoured and feel great in the hand, so you don't need to like try and figure out, you know, wow, these are really blocky and I'm gonna have to get aftermarket handle scales or something. You don't have to strip coatings. You don't have to do any of that type of stuff. And for that price point, as Ontario is well known for, they just do a great job, you know, bringing knives in at a price that the average consumer can purchase. So awesome. Well, folks, there you have it. I got to tell you, this is just my style of blade, man. I mean, this is what connects with me. Kind of not like a full-on tactical like fighting knife, and not like just a camp knife, bushcraft knife. It's kind of that blend, and Ontario, I believe, has really executed that well. They've really done a good job with the handle. They've done a great job with the coating that they picked, the steel and the tempering and the heat treat and everything that they're doing, bringing that D2 steel in a little bit lower on the Rockwell so it's easy to resharpen and tough as nails, which is awesome. I love that, and easy for me to get, you know, work done. The clip point as well, giving us that strength that you would want in possibly, you know, like a field soldier knife, but not making it overly aggressive and still giving us that huge grind, full flat grind basically, to get great slicing capability in. The Kydex sheath, yeah, I would have liked to see the BLADEHQ lock, but you know, on there, it's not a huge deal. Not a deal breaker by any means, and a great overall setup for the Kydex sheath. Hope to see a lot more of their knives coming out with Kydex. So honestly, folks, all in all, I can't say enough good things about this at a great price point. If you like this same style and blend of kind of a field tactical knife blending into a camp knife with great fit and finish, good Kydex, all that stuff, the Cerberus is where it's at, and is really, you know, in a lot of ways can outdo other knives of similar price or even a little bit, you know, lower with like 1095 steel that's out there from other companies that would be competing with this kind of style. So I hope this video has helped you guys out decide whether or not the Cerberus is going to be the right knife to fit inside your systems of use. As always, thank you for coming over here, checking out the channel. Please subscribe, comment, like, share this video. Love to hear your thoughts. Check us out on all the social media. And as always, remember, stay equipped, stay prepared. We'll see you out there.